What's up, everyone? It's Doug the Dog Guy, owner and founder of Bad to the Bone Pet Care, and we are here with Daniella Pascualvaca of Mella Pet Care. Good morning, Daniella.
Good morning. So nice to see you, Doug.
It's so nice to talk to you. So, you are from Mella Pet Care, and your website says the world's first connected wellness ecosystem for pets. And this is it's just very intriguing to me. A lot of the people I talk to here on the channel are other pet sitters and dog walkers. So I'm really curious to hear, what is Mella and what are you doing as a company?
Well, it's so fantastic that we're actually recording this episode now because actually, about 2 days ago, we redid the website. So, if you were to look at our website earlier this week, it was actually just the world's first underarm thermometer because that's what we started with. For many, many years, we were the startup that made an underarm thermometer. And we thought that was fantastic because, of course, we're trying to move away from all rectal temperatures. We don't want pets to have to go through that. And so we had one for veterinary professionals, which you just pop under the foreleg or the hind leg of your dog or cat and you get your temperature reading. Then we made one for pet parents. But then we said, okay, why should we stop there? We have these two products. We already, figured out the entire machine learning algorithm. We already made them Bluetooth connected. Let's make an entire ecosystem. And so that's what we did. So that's why now we are the world's first connected wellness ecosystem. Slogan pending. I actually came up with that a few days ago to kind of put as a placeholder on the website. So I'll take your ideas as like something that makes more sense, but we just have a whole suite now, and all of them are these new wellness devices that take different vital signs of your pet. So they're made for veterinarians and they're also made for pet parents. But yeah, they're all Bluetooth. They all write back into our app. They write into your practice management system if you're a veterinarian. And it's really all just about bringing these devices that we use for pets that are so antiquated and bringing them into the future, just like with humans. We have really cool tech devices, now we have them for pets.
Wow, that is so interesting. That's so cool. How did you get started doing all of this?
So I have veterinary experience. Back in high school for 4 years, I was a veterinary assistant, and so I was more hands-on in the clinic. And one of the things I hated the most was taking a pet's temperature. So it was like you would bring in the pet back into the exam room and you would take their weight. That's totally fine. You would take their heart rate with the stethoscope. They don't even notice it. Then you would get to the part of taking their temperature. And it was horrifying because, especially, I started this at 14 years old, and the last thing I wanted to do was put a thermometer up a dog or cat's butt. I didn't know if I was going to get bitten or scratched, or, most of the time it was even then the pet parent just freaking out, like, why are you doing that? And just kind of spoiling the mood for the rest of the visit. And so I thought about that for a long time. I went off to college. I stopped working at the vet clinic because I had moved away. And then I stumbled upon Mela and I saw what they were doing and I was like, this is so cool because I totally wish we had this. And so I started moving over to then the business side of things and realizing that, okay, at the vet clinic, I could help at most maybe 20 patients a day. But working on the business side of things and creating these products, I could help thousands of vets, pet parents, and pets across the world. And so that's when I said, okay, let's start doing that. Let's start bringing all of these devices into the future because you go to your general physician, they use really cool stuff. They don't put anything up your butt, hopefully. And so I was like, why don't we have that for our pets? Our pets deserve the best too. And so I kind of stuck around and started doing, yeah, the business startup and tech side of the pet world.
Wow, that it's so cool that you said that you could have you could affect more pets by being on the business side like that. That's what I've seen for myself, is I am so adamant about just uplifting, the lives of as many pets as I can. And I've really found that by helping other pet care businesses uh, become more successful and avoid some of the mistakes that I've made, I can actually affect more pets in the process. And it's just so exciting.
No, it totally is. And, I did lose out on the fact that, on the day-to-day basis, I don't interact with cute animals anymore. And I do miss that, but I know that I'm helping a lot more by not being hands-on with them, by just kind of overseeing more of an entire business. And so while it is sad, I don't get to hang out with puppies, I know that out there the puppies who are using our devices are definitely benefiting. So it's a good trade-off.
Yeah. I feel you that on that. You know, when I started my pet sitting and dog walking business, I one of my main driving factors is that I never wanted to sit in an office all day, and then now here I am spending all day every day on Zoom calls.
Yeah.
But I love that your website says that you're fear free. You know, that's something I talk about a lot here on the channel is just that I'm a huge proponent of fear free and everything that they stand for. And so tell me a little bit more about what it means for your products to be fear free.
Yeah, so because our product is underarm, that's initially what got us on the radar of Fear Free, specifically, Dr. Marty Becker, who saw us and said, okay, this is definitely a really good thing for Fear Free. Because what really underlies our entire, mantra is that we don't want the pets to even notice that our products are being used. It's pet friendly in the sense that the pets don't even notice that it's there. Ideally, when we are, taking our pet's temperature or gathering their vital signs or doing any kind of routine checkup or any kind of exam, we want it to be as non-invasive as possible. And so we started off with the thermometer because that's one of the most invasive procedures in the vet clinic. Because, past that, some of the more qualitative observations or, even vaccines or some other things are like a little less harmful, but they notice when they're getting their temperature taken. And so we understand the high stress levels that pets feel when they go to the veterinarian. And so that was one of the things that we initially really like inspired us to start these things is like we don't want them to know that anything is happening. We want them to feel super comfortable in the vet clinic. So let's first start off with, an underarm thermometer that they won't notice. So let's keep their spirits high. And not only does that help the pet for them to be a little bit happier at the vet clinic, it helps the pet parent because your mood is associated with your pet. If your pet is unhappy at the vet, you're not having a good time either. And then by extension, if a pet and a pet parent are happy, the vet is happier as well. And we understand how much stress is in the veterinary profession. Vets are under so much, they're overworked, they are stressed out. It's a very difficult profession. And so if your pet parent is happy, if your pet is happy, then vets are going to have a better experience overall. And so our products are fear-free for the pets. I also like to think they're fear-free for the vets as well. So they're digitally connected, or they write back into the practice management system automatically. What we're trying to do is just lower the time also that it takes for all of the devices to be used. So, since it's all automatic, you don't have to take out your piece of paper, you don't have to write it on the back of your hand, you don't have to lose that piece of paper, you don't have to smudge the back of your hand, you don't have to ask your veterinary technician, hey, do you remember the temperature you took on that cat like 5 hours ago? They don't remember. There's an issue with communication there. We're like to say it's all streamlined. You don't have to worry about it. It all goes back to your pet record. You don't even have to blink. Like it's all there for you. And that's, yeah, the whole idea is just to make everyone's lives a little bit easier, bring that intake down and make sure that vets can then spend more time with their patients, and that's a little bit more meaningful time. They could talk to them as opposed to saying, hey, we lost all your vital signs from the earlier intake, can we do it all again? So it's really just about improving the lives of pets as well as pet parents and vets. And so, yeah, I mean, I know Fear Free is meant to be for the pets, but it also, does connect to the pet parents and the vets as well.
Totally, totally. I mean, that sounds great. That sounds awesome. My boyfriend is the manager of a emergency animal hospital here, and
Nice.
he comes home all the time with like different vital signs and temperatures and stuff written on his hands and on his
Yep.
arms, and people are like other vet techs are calling him like at night when we're eating dinner, like, do you remember this pet's temperature? Do you remember this? And, like, if they had a one of your thermometers, I mean, that could solve so many issues.
Yeah, and I know I've lost a lot of papers back in my day as well, and it's definitely, it's never anybody's fault, but there are so many, people yelling at each other and like all these numbers everywhere, like what's that? Who was associated with that number or this? And as you add more vital signs, it gets even crazier.
Man, I love it. I love it. So is it a pretty easy sale for clinics to get signed up to use your products, or have you seen a little bit of pushback from some of the older clinics? What has that been like?
It's definitely actually been a pretty easy sale for vet clinics because they understand the value proposition. You know, most of them have been through what the rest of us have been through. And so they totally get that. And even those who maybe have practice management systems that are a little outdated, they'll take it one step at a time. They'll say, hey, we're not ready for that integration where, sending the data is just something we don't understand or we can't wrap our heads around, but we understand pets' comfort. So let's start with that. So we say, yeah, that's totally fine. And we are a very, very small team. And so we offer support one on one to anybody who asks for it. And so if you are
Wow.
maybe an older clinic or you're not tech savvy and you say, I don't even know how to download an app on my phone. Well, we're there for you. We'll get on the Zoom call with you. It'll take 15 minutes just to help you get set up to a point where it's easy just to work it. And so we're always there to support because what we really want to do is make it as accessible as possible. And so if tech is a barrier, then we're there to help you out.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. I know a lot about running a service-based business, but I don't really know anything about making products. What is that like? Through like getting it designed, and I'm sure there were like a lot of legal stuff to go through, and then the actual production. What's it all like?
It's very difficult. It is very hard to make hardware. So we have a development team in China, where our CTO is from, and the CTO is really the brains. He understands the tech, and he sends all of our ideations over to China where it's produced. And yes, it's difficult because there are, as you know, a lot of supply chain issues going on in the world. You know, there are chip shortages, and there's this and that, and there's COVID shutdowns, and there's Lunar New Year shutdowns, and so it has been quite difficult actually to produce the product. We have a product that works very well. It's tested here in the US. We have clinical trials that are currently ongoing at the University of Georgia and Cal Poly Pomona, where
Wow.
we are getting it to be as accurate as possible. So we surpassed the kind of this FDA mandate of it has to be within like zero point 0.5 degrees of rectal, and it's now at zero point 0.3, and so it's getting
Wow.
smarter, and it's definitely it currently takes 15 seconds and it's getting faster. And so when the product is here, it's getting smarter because the clinical trials are you put data into the thermometer and it gets smarter. The issue is then, yeah, producing it because when you don't have it and it's getting manufactured over in China, we definitely hit some of those bumps. Has it been a little bit difficult? Definitely, in terms of batches and kind of being a little bit like, as a company, we want to be clear with our customers and people who have ordered it. And sometimes we don't even know. We say, okay, it's estimated to ship on this date. That day comes along, we haven't heard word from our factory, and we have to kind of resend an email and tell people, oh, actually, we're looking at a slightly different date. But what the biggest problem there has just been, trying to be as clear as possible about transparency. But it's a lot more difficult than making software. We have the software side of things where we have an app that's been so nice because it just exists on your computer. But the device itself, we're like, oh, it's out there somewhere in the world. Like we haven't visited the factory. It's probably being made. We don't know. It's just like a very different ideation. And so yeah, it's a lot more difficult than a software company, but it is so rewarding because when that shipment comes in, and when we get those photos from customers who are using it and who are happy with it, it makes it all worth it. So we love it. We love getting to interact with people who do get to use it, even if it's unfortunately a few months late. But yeah, that's the life of the startup, really.
It really is. It really is. So you have the thermometer, and then what else are you guys doing? And then what are you planning for the future?
Yes, so that's what we love to hear. So we have the two thermometers. Yeah, we have the one for veterinary professionals and we have the one for pet parents. The other one that we are currently producing that we're hoping will launch about mid-year is our body condition scale. And so it's like a regular scale where it will take your weight, but it also has impedance pads. And so with a non-slip mat that goes over it, you put your pet on top and you can get a body fat percentage, and then it will also give you a body composition score. What we love
Wow.
about that is that right now the body composition score is very qualitative. You know, a vet will look at a pet. It's like, can you feel the ribs? Can you not? Ooh, 1 to 9, 1 to 5 scale. Let's like kind of estimate it. It's very subjective. And different vets will tell you different things, kind of depending on their experience. And even sometimes just the general conversation about weight and obesity for pets can be very difficult to have. You know, it's hard to tell a pet parent that their pet is overweight or underweight. It's hard, and especially when it's subjective. And so we created the scale that comes with a complementary tape measure. You get a few measurements of the pet, and it'll give you that accurate composition score. Where for the first time ever, it's a qualitative data or a quantitative data point, which is definitely a game changer for vets who are having trouble with these qualitative discussions. To say, here is a number. That's a lot easier. We're working off of data. So we're very excited about that one. That one's coming super soon. That one's a smaller scale. We're also going to create a retrofitted camera for bigger floor scales so that vets don't have to buy a completely new floor scale. You could just get a little smaller one and it writes back into the platform as all of the other ones. And
Wow.
that one will also be, I mean, available for pet parents as well. If you're a pet parent who is, yeah, a little bit concerned about your pet's weight, whether that be underweight or overweight, that's something for your home. And then let's see what else we have. Oh man, so many things. So to complete then the nutrition insight, right? We have our weight, we have the measurements, we also have a smart bowl scale for pet parents. And so it's a very thin scale. It goes under your pet's favorite bowl and it'll measure fluctuations in food intake. And so that'll really help because, you know, the classic, like, did you feed the cat? Did I feed the cat? Don't remember. All of it's within this app and you can track how much they're eating, how much you've given them. And if you input specifically that food into the app, it'll give you the nutritional facts. And so, you know, different food
Wow.
has different intake and stuff. And so that's kind of to complete the nutritional insight. And so that's something that's coming up next.
Oh, that is so awesome. That's awesome. I have a client that I pet sit for all the time that her dog is like a 16-year-old Jack Russell, and she's got PLE and some other ailments and stuff. And her food intake is like very important that we get it right, and she's always kind of teetering on the underweight side of things. So I have to like feed her on this like kitchen scale, this like old-timey kitchen scale, that way I know like exactly how much she eats at breakfast and how much she eats at dinner, and like, and I track all the weight of everything while I'm staying there. So that mat would be perfect for them.
Yeah, it would do it automatically. And no, it is fantastic because the question is sometimes it's like, okay, well, you gave them a certain amount of food. Did they eat it all? Did they spill some of it? It's all just like it's streamlined for you. You know, we're trying to make sure that as much fun as you may be having with like the little pet journal, some people don't want to do that, you know, and so it's just like a lot easier to have that in the platform all done for you. But yeah, that's for pet parents. We have two more, so two more products, mainly for vets, to once again kind of bring down that intake process. And one's a chip reader for an automatic check-in process. You scan the pet, and if they exist in the record, they say like, they pop up, and you're there, all within, you know, your practice management system and your app, for that automatic check-in process. And then lastly, something we're very excited for, probably coming out in the next year or so, is a pulse oximeter, also with the, you know, understanding that we want it to be as non-invasive as possible. It's just a little Velcro strap that wraps around the hind leg. Hopefully pets don't even feel that it's on there, and you can kind of leave it on for a bit and it'll give you, heart rate, respiration rate, oxygen saturation, and that'll kind of complete our ecosystem until we think of something else.
Oh, I love it. That you guys are doing so many cool things. That's exciting.
Thank you. Yeah, we have so many, and sometimes it's just like I don't even know where to begin. We went to the VMX last week, and we had this like new booth slip in the back, and people would look at it. They're like, "What? There's so many. Like, where do we start?" And I was like, you know, I didn't even know because we just designed this booth slip. So I will practice my pitch with you, where it's like I haven't done the ecosystem pitch yet. So let's figure it out together. But it is very rewarding, and we're very excited.
Oh man, my boyfriend was at VMX last week and he
Oh,
came
nice.
home and he was just like so overwhelmed. He was
Yeah.
like, I've talked to like 10,000 people and like he's like got this bag of like pamphlets and handouts and stuff to go through and he's like, I just need like 2 days to just nap. Like
Yeah, no, absolutely. The long recovery.
Oh man. Well, so I know that you have your podcast. We just recorded an interview for that. So tell me about your podcast and where people can find out more about you and everything that you're doing at Mella.
Yeah, so the podcast was really born as kind of the educational side of the business where, we make hardware, we make software, but it's for pets and it's for pet parents. And so a lot of it is, educating pet parents about pet health. It's like, okay, well, you're already a fantastic pet parent. Like, don't worry about that. But if you're interested in learning more or like, taking your pet care to the next level, here's a resource for you. And so I started off the podcast with no experience whatsoever. In the first 15 episodes, don't even listen to them. It's kind of a throwaway where I was like, okay. Sitting on these podcasts, like, what do I ask you about? I'm not sure. But now it's just kind of developed into what really is about just, collaborating, like bringing collaboration from pet world, whether you're a brand, a veterinarian, somebody like you who is just completely well-rounded and just like so multifaceted, and kind of having pet parents hear your discussion about the world. And so it is called the Mellow Moment Pet Health Podcast for that reason. The vets are there to kind of, foster a better relationship with pet parents who sometimes only visit the vet once a year. And so, outside of your yearly visits, just to hear some, FAQs and some answers and some discussions from the vets just from the comfort of your own home without having to go to the vet, and then from brands to hear what's going on out there, what new innovation is hitting the pet industry. And then from really awesome people like you to say, okay, well, I want something different. I want a pet sitter. I want a coach who is out there. And so it's really just for pet parents who want to learn more about the industry, want to learn more than just what they learn on Google, which sometimes sifting through that information is difficult, and who have a pet, who love their pet and just want to get a little bit more involved in the world. And so we're up to almost 100 episodes, and you
Wow.
can find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or even our website. So, mella.ai/podcast will have it. And it's just, yeah, bringing education to the forefront. So it's more than just, we make hardware, we make software. It's like, well, we also teach people stuff. And so that's really what it's all about. How do we become better pet parents, and how do we help overworked, stressed veterinarians out as well?
Oh, I love it. I love it. For everyone listening, I will put the information on the screen and then I'll put it in the description below so you can click and go directly to Mela.ai and learn more about their products and listen to their podcast. I had so much fun talking to you. I'm excited to hear the episode and just thank you so much for having me on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me on this one. This is so fun. It's like a little switcheroo, and it's like yeah, like a slight 30-second water break. And it was like, okay, now
Yep.
we're doing the other one. So yeah, I guess for those watching and listening, if we're wearing the same thing, um, that's why.
Yep.
You're like, wait, do they just never change clothes? Like, no. Well, yeah, we recorded it at the same time.
I had one of my dog trainer friends ask me the other day, she was like, "Do you have any other shirt besides that black polo?" And I'm like, "No, I really don't. It's just a closet full of black polos." Like,
At least it's more than one. Like, you wash them or you like cycle through them.
uh, well, awesome. It's been so great talking to you, Daniela, and thank you for taking the time for us. And for anyone watching, if you haven't already subscribed, please smash the subscribe button to stay up to date with my weekly content. Check out Daniela's information down in the comments below. Be sure to share this interview with anyone in the pet industry that you think could benefit from what we're talking about here. And I'm Doug the Dog Guy from Bad to the Bone Pet Care, reminding you to stay positive.